This channel supports St. Jude's Research Hospital for Children and is a part of their Play Live charity drive. For more information on how to join as well as how to donate, please head to the description and click the link at the top of it. Remember, any and all support is appreciated, so feel free to give and support in any way you can. Thank you for your participation.
What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Megas, and I promised that there would be some more discussion on this because this is going to be a very deep social thing, and I think that a lot of us need to get in front of it and to be expressive and to try to be as clear and as fair as possible in the discussion. Now, I already did a video where I expressed my emotion over the results of the presidential election, and I clearly said that a lot of it was built on emotion, but I tried to be as fair as possible. That's the thing. And the underlying message wasn't that everybody should go out and hate Trump. And it's funny because, of course, some people take it that way. So let's be clear, because this is something that's been on my mind, and it actually got me choked up at work. I've already been having anxiety attacks about things going on in my life. I have bouts of depression, and this just threw me in a really bad state because some of the things have been going on since the election has happened. We've seen the protests. We've seen the disgusting pictures of people beating on Trump protesters. We've seen announcements made by the KKK that they're going to be doing celebration parades in honor of Trump. The story about the little kids being harassed in elementary school with white students yelling "build that wall" to little Latino kids, and the principal confirming that actually happened. This is why I was upset. This is the thing that I feared. See, and I think this is the thing that a lot of people miss. I was reading a Colin Moriarty article, and he made this whole big blast about this is what elitists get for thinking they're better than people, and this is why they lost. And that struck me kind of awkward that he would say that, because his rant kind of came off as like, well, that's what you get for thinking that your way of life was better than other people's, and that's why people came out and voted for Trump. I didn't know how to take that, and I'm trying to formulate a written response to that, because I just want to be clear. I actually do like Colin Moriarty, and I think his political views aren't that bad. He's a conservative, but he said some very poignant things. I don't know where this rant came from, because it doesn't remind me of a Colin Moriarty that I'm used to. Although I do know that he can't stand elitists. I'm someone who, that term elitist, it always has confused me, and it's never been one I could, how could I say it? I just never understood it, because it feels like, okay, so what is an elitist? And if anybody could explain to me what that is, let me know. I know a lot of people say that about Hillary Clinton. They've said it about Obama. With Hillary Clinton, I could probably see it more. If you go by the definition of someone who ranks themselves as, I guess, I don't know. I guess it's someone who thinks that they're better than other people. The problem I have with that is that, one, I've never thought Obama thought he was better than someone. At least not on the level of being smug and dismissive. I think Hillary, that was one of her problems in the election. That deplorable comment, whether you felt it was true or not, you don't call American voters deplorable in hindsight. You look at that and you're like, okay, you just told a bunch of people that they are like, they're they don't matter. Meanwhile, they responded back with, "Yeah, I'm deplorable," which I wouldn't have done. But I'm more of the high ground kind of guy. But it just she kind of stoked fires. I do agree in that sense with this rant that with that whole thing dismissing people as being stupid and deplorable, she kind of gave a group of people a reason to throw the middle finger up to her. That being said, just to wrap up the whole thing on the elitist thing, the idea of people thinking they're better than themselves is something that's always existed. I mean, not themselves, but other people. Something that's always existed. I think if at one time or another we've all looked at certain people doing certain things that we just would not do, and we were glad that we weren't that type of person. But I'm sure there's a more. I guess again it goes back to the whole deplorable thing. That level, maybe he feels like was the whole liberal movement, was that they felt that way, and I don't agree that. I don't think just like I don't think conservatives think they're better than liberals. I think that both sides feel like the things that they champion are more important at times, but at the end of the day, there's a middle ground to both of them, and that no matter what, whether you're red, you're blue, whatever, I hate that shit. By the way, you guys know I hate that shit. I always talk about that too on my we talked about that a lot on the Hits Point Hervey podcast. The whole red versus blue thing. It's like just because you're a Republican doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean that you're a bad person. But we have been so divisive in that political setup that we start to believe that bullshit. And this is pretty much the point of the video, is like the divisiveness. And this is the reason why I had issue with Trump being elected, because look, people, we all know this. He ran his campaign with very inflammatory words, very scary comments, getting rid of Muslims, blaming them for everything. Like, I know that ISIS exists, and ISIS are terrible people. That doesn't make billions of Muslims terrible. That doesn't mean that you should tell people we need to get rid of a group of people because they follow a certain religion. There's been Muslims throughout history that have done great things for the world. There have also been Muslims who've done bad things. But again, it goes back to my whole rant about Christianity. We've seen Christianity be devastating to the world and do some horrible things. But we've also seen some of the greatest people in the world who were Christian do like tremendous things for this world. So that whole like religious hate thing, that was bad. The xenophobia, build that wall, make Mexico build it and keep out immigrants because they're taking jobs from America. We all know the reality of immigration in this country. This country is built on nothing but immigrants. I'm sorry, but unless you're Native American, you're an immigrant to this country. Someone in your family came from somewhere in Europe, Asia, Africa, and settled in this country. And after a couple of generations, you were pretty much established as Americans. But don't get it twisted. Most of us aren't really from here. The people who are the majority, and most of the minorities aren't original, homegrown Americans. It's just reality. Um, Again, immigrants don't take jobs from Americans. For the most part, they take jobs that Americans don't want. Um, of course, some come to this country, they get their citizenship, they grow, they prosper, they become doctors, lawyers, things like that. But that's through the will of their own hard work and desire and wanting to be a part of this society. We all have that opportunity, people. So please don't tell me that just because Jose and his family came here, sent their kids to school, and gave them a better education than they could get where they're from, and their kids grew up to be, you know, hardworking, dedicated citizens, that's a problem. That's the thread of America that we've always pushed throughout history. That this is the land of opportunity. This is a land where we all have a chance to be something special. So you want to tell me now that that only applies if you were only born here? No, you've sold that message across the world. Why wouldn't you think people would want to come here into a place that you've told them, hey, we'll give you a chance? Now all of a sudden, fuck you. You can't have that chance. What? But you just told me, no, I don't want you. Think of how much sense that makes to me, people. It's how much sense that should not make at all. So he ran on those things. Like I've told people before, like the whole grab him by the pussy thing. It's like, okay, that makes him a fucking dick, a jerk. Bill Clinton skeeting on Monica Lewinsky sure didn't make him look like the most model husband in the world. Now, did it? So, it's like, that was never my biggest concern. My biggest concerns with Trump were always the fact that, one, what is his policies and what's his experience going to bring to the table? And two, how are we going to move on as a country with the words that he said, the things about immigrants and Muslims and things like that? Stoking fires in groups that have always existed. We've all known racism, bigotry, sexism, misogyny. All that stuff still exists. It's been tempered. It had been, at least it felt like it was tempered. So it was easier for us to kind of, I guess, dismiss and not pay attention. That's to our detriment. We should always remain vigilant against things like that. But as we've seen in 2016, things have gotten to a point where we're seeing it more and more. And he picked up those threads and he carried it. He prodded the embers. He would let people do whatever to minorities at his rallies and not say anything. I'm not saying that he encouraged it, but he didn't try to stop it either. And that in itself is a kind of a level of encouragement. And now he's in office, and now those people are starting to like get excited and happy. And of course, the other side, the people, those of us who have the fear, are starting to react in an irrational way as well. Again, why are you beating up somebody because they voted for Trump? No. That, I guess, going back to the whole quote-unquote elitist thing, that definitely is not a sign of elitism. If you think that being that type of person who should beat on someone for their political views is right. It's just disgusting. It's wrong. And it's wrong that you have children harassing other children. Telling them to go back to Mexico and that said, that broke my heart more than anything. Because that's part of the biggest fear, and that was a part of my anxiety attack, and that's why I'm getting choked up now. Is because while a lot of the things, like I said, bigotry, racism, misogyny, has continued to exist in the world, things have gotten better. And again, like I said, 2016 just seemed like it began a year of the year of regression or something. I don't know. And maybe this is just my naivety. Maybe this has started a long time ago. I mean, a lot of people claim that ever since Obama's been in office, it's been trickling, it's been bubbling, and that may be true. But it's been seemingly more heightened this year. And I fear going back to a time that we've, as not just African Americans, Latinos, Asian Americans, gays, lesbians, transgenders, Christians, Muslims, whatever religion you are, I feel like we're getting back to times that we had people fight so hard to get past. And now it's like we're ready to just pull it all back and let's go back to the 60s. Let's go back to a time where the KKK walked around freely, attacking people, writing slurs all over their homes, threatening them. Let's go back to a time where women were looked at still as lesser beings who shouldn't be treated equal. Let's go back to harassing Asian Americans, especially those who prosper in the areas, or back to the get the fuck out the country wet back mentality. I don't want that. Nor do I want the pushback the other way. I don't want the violent responses to people who believe in Trump. What I want and what I hope will eventually come out of this all is that people grow the fuck up and realize that, again, this is a global world. We're not back in those days where everybody was isolated and different ideas and religions and races were so separate and divided that the idea of coexisting wasn't something that should be fostered. It wasn't something that was attainable. I think we're past that. And to try to push back to that type of place is ridiculous. Why would you want to? There's so many brilliant people, brilliant minds, wonderful people from all different backgrounds that are a benefit to this country. That why do you want to just isolate it to just white people, or to just black people, or to just Asian people? We gotta stay together, people. Come on. We should be past all of this. We should be moving into a much, much better place. And again, do I think Trump is the right choice? No, but it kind of goes back to like with Bush and with all our presidents. Okay, the person I didn't win, that I wanted to win. Well, the person that I wanted to win didn't even run for office. Joe Biden, I'm still mad at you. And Elizabeth Warren, I see you out there, girl. Come bring it, please. Please, Elizabeth Warren. I am begging her to say, fuck this, I'm taking this shit now. Because she would get it. She would have done what Hillary could never do. Believe me. But, what I want is to now see that, we've heard Trump say before a lot of the stuff that he would run as a Republican because he said that he thinks that they're stupid. They'll believe what what you'll say. All you gotta do is just tell them what they want to say. I don't think that's 100% true. I think that's just extremely disgusting that someone who could say that about the party that he ran for could actually win and get away with it. But what I'm hoping is that we see him be like, you know what? I've said a lot of things, and this is what I need from him, and this is what I think a lot of us want from him. I need to apologize for the things that I said. I said it out of ignorance. I said it because I felt like it was the right thing to say, and you know what? That's not cool. Now that I'm in this office, I realize that those words that I used, the things that I said to carry myself to this office, they weren't cool. They don't benefit the nation. They don't benefit the world. I need to gain more understanding. I need to gain more education on people of the world, on religions, on how people actually really feel, like as a whole, and not just a particular group. Because this is a nation made up of many people, many cultures, many ideas, and as president, my job is to take all of those things into consideration and try to dictate policy that will help benefit all of us, because we're all going to be living here together. We're not going to separate. We need to come together, and we need to all find that happy medium, that place that we can agree on, so that we can all proceed to prosper, to live as happily as possible, and to try to be an example to everybody, to ourselves, to our children, to the world, that we're all able to do what's best for all of us, not just for a particular group, but for all of us. And that's the thing. He has that thread of hope. He can find some people who can maneuver him that way. He can hopefully elect people that aren't just going to be divisive, that aren't just going to be like trying to carry on a like Christian right type of thing, or just go one way all the time. Open-minded people that understand what this country is made of, and make things better, because that's all we really want in this country. So for things to get better, for everybody to be able to live well. We just all want to live, and we all want to be living happy, and hopefully that can happen. But we'll see. It's not all bleak. That, I guess that's the biggest thing. It's not all bleak, but it just feels very bad because he shouldn't have did it. He shouldn't have ran on those ideas. And that will always be my biggest problem with him, is that you ran on those ideas. And now we have to deal with the immediate fallout of it. Hopefully, him and smarter people around him will stop this head in the sand type of thing that they're doing now, and be vocal. Get out in front of this. Say, no, people, stop. We have to do better. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, as always, you guys hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.